Welcome to another episode of the Engaged Parish Podcast. On today's show, we're joined by Cassidy Mann, Catholic creator, storyteller, and co-founder of PriestPro, a platform helping priests and ministries transform homilies into short-form, evangelizing content that actually connects in the digital age. Alongside her husband, Dom, Cassidy is helping to bridge the gap between the pulpit and the platform, empowering clergy to share the gospel online with the same authenticity and pastoral heart they bring to the parish. We'll talk about how PriestPro got started, the challenges and opportunities of digital evangelization, and what it looks like to bring creativity and our Catholic identity together in the media space. Cassidy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. We'll dive right in, but let's start by just kind of getting the background here. So I know you and your husband are behind one of the most exciting creative projects going on right now with PriestPro. I also know your husband has been involved with his own, media company when doing video and work like that. But can you share a little bit about yourself for those in the audience who haven't heard of you or PriestPro? Feel free to even talk about Dom too if you want to get into what he's up to.
Yeah, for sure. So my background is in video production, and even before me and my husband met, he had his own video production company, and so my dad actually set us up, and he was a sixth grade teacher, and so that's a different story. But regardless, we were both in like this creative space before, and so when we started dating, we already had that in common, and then we quickly discerned engagement and marriage, and then right after we got married, I quit my job and went full in with DM Productions. And initially, it wasn't, we were both cradle Catholic, but the business was just not niched down in any way, shape, or form. And so we niched it to a Christian and nonprofit. And then there was an instance that just led us to just deep dive into the Catholic space. And that was the best decision that we could have made for the business. And so we've been doing that for over 2 years now. And PriestPro came about after we talked to one of our priest friends about how digital evangelization completely transformed their parish just using homilies that he was preaching and now just recording them and putting them online. It completely changed their parish, and I'm sure we'll get more into that. But that's kind of where I am in a background sense and the infancy of PriestPro and kind of how it came about.
Definitely. Yeah. The first time you and I met, that story that you shared of the priest just kind of transforming his parish through this really struck me. And I think it's going to stick with a lot of our parishes as we get into that during our conversation. We'll get into this as well, but why don't you tell folks what PriestPro is for those who haven't heard of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So PriestPro is a Catholic AI employee that turns homilies into social media content automatically. That's the one-liner for you.
Love it. What need did you see in the church that led you and your husband to build this platform?
Yeah, I guess I'll just dive into that story now. But one of our priest friends, we had him on our podcast, and off air, he was just telling us how social media evangelization completely transformed their parish. And so beforehand, when they weren't doing any sort of social media, they were getting like 1 to 2 families every couple months or so joining their parish. And then when they were doing things consistently, and what I mean by consistently is just posting homilies on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And that was it. They're not creating anything like original, brand new, like having to sit down and spend hours making this content. They're just recording what they're already doing so well in their parish. And by doing that, they saw 1 to 2 families a week joining their parish and like 40 plus people coming in for the sacrament of initiation.
Wow.
And we live in the middle of nowhere. And so like that is huge for a parish around us. Like the year before, it was maybe 7 people joining, and like that was a big number. But 40 is life-changing for a parish around us, and I'm sure for a lot of parishes in the U.S. and just the world. And so that kind of made Dom and I take a step back and realize, like, why aren't more priests doing this? And we looked online and we're researching, like, is there anything like this that's available? Because priests, parish staff, like, they don't have the time, they don't have the energy, they don't have the resources to add another like full-time job to their plate. I mean, like, since this is our background, like, we realize how much work goes into doing this successfully. And they just don't have that. And so we were looking around and there was nothing like this at all for Catholic priests, specifically for this use case. And that's why we created it. We felt called to kind of move in this direction.
Yeah, that's the story that really struck me when we first met that I just alluded to, and wow, it's just amazing. And obviously the work we do at eCatholic, we see some of that happen as well. It's when you take your digital presence seriously, it can have effects on giving, on people actually showing up, on people being interested in seeing what your parish has to offer, or even the Catholic faith has to offer. And sometimes I think, I do think this attitude is going away, but some parishes still think digital might not be important, or even that if you're posting videos or live streaming the mass, that could actually take away from physical worship. But these two things really aren't at odds. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, what we have seen is that not only does it not take away from like people in like the parish. So if you're live streaming, then you're assuming that they're not going to come into church physically. But not only have we seen that not to be true, but like it amplifies
Mm.
like worship and like just makes the parish thrive even more when you have those touch points throughout the week and not just on Sunday. And so being able to do that and not just use your social media as a bulletin board saying like, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this. Like that's not what people go on social media for. And so you need to kind of, play the social media game in a way of like, this is what they're expected to watch on social media. This is what they're expected to experience on social media and to like use that to your advantage. And so like with homilies, priests give a homily every single week for as long as they're a priest. And they have great, great homilists that are just maybe 70, 100 people in the congregation, but thousands and thousands of people should be hearing this every single week, and they're just not because they're not utilizing the power of social media. And so why would you not want to do that if that's what you're called to do is preach the gospel and like get more people to know the truth of like Catholicism?
I love that. And we were talking about this just before we went live with recording, but we don't, not every priest out there has to be Father Mike Schmitz or Bishop Barron. Don't get me wrong. Those priests, and obviously Bishop Barron being a bishop, they're great. And they're they're doing amazing work for the church. But priests can still be, the phrase sometimes has negative connotations, but an influencer within their own community. So you just kind of touched on it, but what does a successful social media strategy look like for a parish, and priests who are obviously trying to reach people with the gospel?
Yeah, I would say a successful social media strategy would be doing things consistently and doing them well. And so you not using it like a bulletin board, like I was saying, but actually having engaging content. And it doesn't need to go viral. The priest that I had talked about in the initial baby stage of PriestPro, he never went viral. It was like I said, we live in a small town. It was maybe a couple hundred views, if that, per video. It wasn't thousands of views. It wasn't 100,000 thousands of views. It wasn't millions of views. It was just a little bit in their community consistently, like having these things reaching out to like the local community, and that it doesn't need to go viral is what I'm trying to say. Like it doesn't need to be a crazy amount to have an impact in your parish and to be able to do this.
And that's where you mentioned creativity, consistency, and that's really where PriestPro comes in to play here. Couple of questions. Well, we'll start with this one. I think most people might know this. If not, I'll say it. Video is an essential piece on social media today. You mentioned before, you got to kind of play the game to get the reach. So yeah, let's talk about practically, how does PriestPro come in and help parishes get that consistent content, and most importantly, get that video content that we know just has higher engagement?
Absolutely. So we wanted to make it as frictionless and completely taking off that workload as possible for priests and parish staff. So since COVID, a lot of parishes were just live streaming. And we found that a lot of them are still live streaming. Even if they aren't, they have the equipment just sitting there. They can just press record and start it back up again. But we have found a lot of them are still recording and have been doing so for years now. So it's not like a new thing to add to their plate since it's already in the routine. So we'll pull from the live stream, or if a priest isn't doing that and wants to kind of make their quality a little bit better, they can just record with their phone, put it up on the ambo, press record, and then upload that as a YouTube video or whatever, transfer that file, and then we will pull from the live stream link so that everything is completely hands off. And that mass will have the homily in it. We'll cut the homily out for a full length homily, YouTube video, podcast, whatever you want. And then the AI will choose homily highlights from the full length homily that clip the best viral worthy moments from that homily. It'll edit those videos, and then once they're done, the like moderator of the account will get a notification saying, "Hey, your videos are ready," and all they need to do is approve them, and they will be scheduled and posted for you. So everything is completely hands off, and you can have a whole week's worth of content without having to do anything else, and maybe spending 10 minutes max on a whole week's of content.
That's amazing. We talked about this before we hit record as well, so I want to get back into it. But um, priests, especially today, don't necessarily need a full custom studio. In fact, you even mentioned you have a short list of, for different budgets, what a priest or a parish can purchase equipment-wise to have a good presence. And again, I just want to hammer home how amazing your service is, that you just take the feed. So really, especially if a parish is already live streaming, there's nothing more they really have to do. And then they get this content that you mentioned, video content that we said earlier, so engaging that they can just go ahead and post. I mean, that truly is amazing. You're taking all the guesswork, all the editing, all this, hey, how do we get some more video content? How do we get more social media content? You're taking that all out of the equation. So that's why we really called PriestPro one of the most exciting, we think, technologies that's coming up in the church right now. But let me get to my question, I suppose. For priests that do want to maybe record something outside of the homily, first of all, it sounds like PriestPro can handle that. But second of all, just reassure folks that they don't need to spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on equipment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can use your phone. There's tons of YouTube videos. There's tons of resources that you just need to change your settings a little bit and understand basic video principles, which that's our background. Like that's what we are good at. And so to be able to extend like the knowledge that we have to you so that you can kind of get this all set up, it doesn't take a lot of equipment. It's just a little bit of knowledge and the little bit of tips and tricks that we've learned along the way of like trial and error and years and years and years of experimentation. Like you can like have all the rewards without any of the scars from what we've learned, and apply that to your parish without a huge budget.
And you guys, I'm sure, provide this expertise to parishes as well. So if they have questions or they want your expert input, you mentioned the years of learning that you guys have, and obviously your husband having a production company, a video company. You guys do provide that help for parishes that need it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. So you mentioned before that you guys are using AI to help transform these homilies into short video content. You don't have to get super technical, but can you walk us through how that process works? You already kind of mentioned it's really seamless for parishes. There's nothing that the parish has to do except approve these, right?
Yes, yeah. So I also want to clear up when we say that we use AI, that is like a kind of buzzword term is AI, and like what does that exactly mean? So we do not use AI to create a homily or alter what a priest is saying in any way, shape, or form. They've already preached their homily and done the research, all of that kind of stuff. It's already been preached to a congregation. We are just utilizing the power of technology to streamline that process and make it more efficient and an overall better product for our customers and an overall better business for us. And so if you have the opportunity to utilize technology, like the Catholic Church has always utilized the power of technology and the the best and newest ways of doing things, like when they used the roads, when they used the printing press, when EWTN went on TV and the radio. Like, it's always been on the forefront of technology. And so we're just utilizing that as well, but in an ethical way where we're not changing or altering things in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and so really, you guys are using AI and technology, as you mentioned, to enhance the priest's voice and not replace it. And I think that's important to remember too. AI today is really good at certain things, and one of those things is knowing, what moments of a video will have better engagement. We use the word viral, but just have better engagement and resonate with people. And so using that to your advantage, I think, is important. And we talk about wanting to have, or a parish talks about wanting to have a better presence. It just makes sense to use AI in that sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. And like a video editing technical standpoint, like there's mundane, like repeatable tasks that take forever to do, like whether it be face tracking, whether it be adding captions, all of those little details that make a video like interesting, that can be done a lot faster with AI technology. And so if you wouldn't utilize that, you're just wasting your time at this point. So why not use it?
that's an excellent point. And especially, again, with the service like PriestPro, where you guys are doing that for the parish, they don't even have to worry about learning how to use AI to be more efficient in that way. Again, wonderful service that you guys have.
Thank you.
As you think about strategy and technology, what are the key elements that make for an effective digital presence today? Things like clarity of message, consistency. What does that look like from a strategic standpoint for parishes?
Yeah, consistency is number one for sure. If you're not doing things on a consistent basis, it makes things really, really difficult. And so I would say that's definitely number one. And from a strategy standpoint, this is what I would do if I was going to start from scratch as a parish. I would just kind of get it out of the way that, like, you're not going to get it right the first go around. It's going to take some trial and error. Understand that at the forefront. And so just get in front of the camera or just press record on that, and like you got to start from somewhere. So that would be number 1. Number 2 is look at parishes and accounts that are doing things successfully and take inspiration from them, whether it be some like cool trend that they're doing, whether it be the way that they're editing their videos, whether it be the way that their feed looks, all of that kind of stuff. You can gauge inspiration from people that are doing things successfully already. St. Anne Catholic Church in Texas, amazing. Solano Catholic in California, amazing. Like those are 2 of like top tier parishes that you can look for inspiration right now and like understand, okay, this is what they're doing. They're Catholic parish. Like they're not like a secularized company. Like this is, and their parishes are thriving because of it. So I would take inspiration from them and be consistent. And then also like YouTube University, like if you're starting from scratch, like just look up videos on YouTube, or if you're not interested in that, you can use a service like PriestPro that like will take it off your plate completely.
For parishes that feel like they're a little bit late to the game with social media, with video content, what's a really solid practical first step? I think you might have hinted at it in your last answer, but what's a very practical first step that they can do to build a video driven strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the consistency number. I'm probably going to just be a
Sure.
broken record
Yeah.
with this, but like, yeah, the consistency and looking for inspiration. But also, I would say look for the people that are in your parish. Like, look at the youth group and see, like, they're all on social media. Like, what do they want to see? You want to engage with them. And so, I'm sure, like, whenever I personally come across like a Catholic church on my feed that's like doing something really interesting and fun, I look forward to seeing that. Like, I don't just scroll past it. And so these teens, these young adults, like they have lived in, they are living on social media.
Mm.
And so kind of ask them, like, what would you like to see? Like, what do you think of this? And bounce ideas off of each other. And I'm sure there'd be a lot of like people in your parish that are more than willing to help with that. And just like, they would like to see it as well. So I'm sure everybody would love to help out and like just see, this is a good idea, this isn't a good idea, we should try this. And there's going to be trial and error, but like you got to start somewhere and might as well utilize the people that are in your parish, that are in your community. It's going to be a new ministry for you. And like that is amazing.
That's a really good point. Also, once again, if a parish is already live streaming, there's your first step right there, because as we've already talked about, there's content right within that homily that should not be missed out upon. And that even of itself, as you mentioned earlier, can give you a whole week's worth of posting. I'm curious, besides homilies, what other creative things have you seen parishes do that either surprised you or were very effective when it comes to video content?
Yeah, I mean, as far as video, like doing social media trends, but in a classy way, like understanding like which trends to partake in and which trends not to. And like there's some comedy to it. And like you like seeing that on social media. And so you have the like motivational like speakers kind of things for like just secularized accounts. And then homilies are in the same genre, I would say, of that. So having that, but also mixing in some like fun trends to do and some quote posts and all of these different things that make a high quality social media account. I'm kind of like losing what the question was, but yeah, I'm sorry. I like missed exactly what it was.
No. That's really good. I was just wondering if there's been any very creative things that you've seen video wise. And you're right, trends. I mean, I can think about instances at eCatholic where we've helped out, building these little websites for different dioceses and the bishops of those dioceses doing fun wagers over what sports team is going to win the Super Bowl or the World Series. And, that's kind of fun. I also think about Hallow, and their Super Bowl commercials and some of the things that they do on the promotional front. And again, those are different circumstances than a parish, but you're absolutely right. Sort of engaging with the culture in a classy, fun way, can get lots of engagement. And we never know. It's all about planting seeds. We never know what that content might lead to, or someone actually might say, oh, this is interesting and want to learn more about the faith. So, I've said it before, but it seems like if St. Paul were alive today, he'd probably be on these social media platforms, but using them for good. And we always have to remember that, of course.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, for priests that are kind of hesitant on that, I would say okay, I'll give an example of there's this one priest that he's young, but he's like, I'm kind of against social media, or at least I was until this happened. And his parish is by college, and they got a call one day from this young college girl that's like, hi, I'm interested in your RICA program. And he's like, RCIA? And she's like, yeah, whatever that is, I guess. And he's like, yeah, sure. I mean, that's great. Like, how'd you hear about us? And she's like, well, TikTok, like, that's like kind of where I learned about the faith. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, she learned about the faith and is interested in becoming Catholic because of TikTok. And like, it just led her down that rabbit hole. And if that content wasn't there, she would have never been able to have that like conversion. And so there's so many other instances similar to that where you see like these comments on Father David Michael Moses or Father Mike Schmitz of like, I haven't gone to church in 40 years and like I saw this come across my feed and like I prayed for the first time and whatever, or I'm going to church for the first time in 20 years. Like these are very real things that are happening, and that's why I'm so passionate about like getting the word out and like being a digital evangelization like powerhouse, I guess.
It's it's a little bit scary, but very exciting at the same time. And we can't ignore it anymore. This is, for better or worse, this is where the culture is right now. And this is where people are. They're on social media. And again, the whole purpose of this is to get them into church, taking part in the sacraments, in, learning more about their faith. And again, just even at the parish level, I have to imagine that, depending on the parish, of course, but younger kids might kind of roll their eyes at CCD or any sort of like classes that they have to take for religious education. But if they're sort of consuming things or seeing things that draw them in on social media, sort of meeting them where they're at, That can even happen at the individual parish level. Again, it's like you don't want to be cringy, but even like you just don't know when someone's on their phone and they see something, they might be more likely to engage with that, especially younger generations than, if their parents are forcing them to go somewhere to some sort of class. So I think even for local parishes, that's important to remember. Again, you can kind of go viral or be an influencer within your own community. You don't necessarily have to be the next Father Mike Schmitz, Bishop Barron, etc. What's your hope for the future of Catholic social media and evangelization?
My hope is that it would just be more, and like there would be more of this kind of content on the digital landscape. Like that's where people are living, and we need to be where the people are. So I guess being more innovative in this space, because it feels a little like lax, or like they haven't been like fast to jump on this. Like our Protestant brothers and sisters, like they understand the importance of it. They have it down pat. Like they are doing things amazingly, and it's showing. Like young people love that kind of stuff. Like I follow a bunch of Protestant accounts because I love seeing it on my feed. Like they love Jesus too. So like that, there's no problem with that. But I would love to see that more from a Catholic standpoint, and having that, because that is like the one true apostolic church. And so having more Catholic people in that space is just my hope.
Yeah,
Being
yeah.
able to be more innovative, for sure.
Do you think that we're starting to see some of that, in your opinion?
Absolutely. I mean, you saw like the Jubilee for like influencers in Rome, and like Pope Leo addressed that. It's very important. And I think that there's going to be a shift in the very near future on Catholics in this space, because it is showing. Like results are coming in, and
Yeah.
it is crazy. Like you saw the amount of people that came to the National Eucharistic Congress. Like that was not a small thing. Like their social media was a big part of that, and just the sheer like amount of media that went behind it and in front of it. And like now they have one coming up in 10 years, and it's that consistency of growing. It wouldn't have been the same without it being on social media, for sure.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I remember seeing it everywhere. Our producer Brandon was actually there in person and putting social media updates out there. We were doing interviews with people that were there on the ground. I mean, you're absolutely right. I think that in some ways might have been a turning point. And I wasn't there in Indianapolis, but I loved seeing everything that was being shared. And I felt like I was missing out big time. I was like, the church is here. Why am I not there too?
And it
But
was engaging, and it was high
yes,
quality, and it was just
yes.
like real. It wasn't like kind of sugar coated. It was just like, this is what it is to be Catholic, and like it's fun. Like everybody should be here, and I'm missing out if I'm not like at this event.
Yeah, yeah. I remember those feelings. Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. It was just unabashedly Catholic. Like the Eucharist is the source and summit of our faith, and that was on full display. And you're right. It was so beautifully done, from the pictures to the videos they shared. I mean, it was so moving, and true.
And the talks too, like just,
Yes.
the talks from it were just so inspiring as well. And that was a big part of social media, like even beforehand and afterwards, of like, oh, I didn't go to this breakout session, but now I can like rewatch it and re-experience things. And that can carry out in like many, many months afterwards, many years afterwards, rewatching those, reutilizing that content. And so it doesn't have to be difficult. Like you can use what you're doing already and doing so well, the homilies in your parish, the talks that you're giving, the RCIA talks, all of this stuff, like youth group talks, retreats, everything. Like there's so many things that you're doing so well in your parish that you're just not utilizing to its fullest potential with social media. And so that's just my hope, is to be able to supercharge what you're doing in your parish to a whole new level.
I love that. And I love the passion you bring to this. It definitely shows. So practically, PriestPro, it's launched. You have parishes utilizing it right now. Obviously, we have a lot of parishes that listen to this show. For parishes and diocesan leaders that want to get started, what's the next best step that they can take to learn more about PriestPro and see if it's the right fit for them?
yeah, go to PriestPro.com and you can join the wait list. And we also have a course in the meantime, because we only have limited spots available. So we don't want to leave you hanging, where it teaches you exactly from a professional video person, the software to use, the ChatGPT prompts to supercharge and use AI to its fullest advantage, having a homily podcast, having a blog post, utilizing your website to boost SEO so people from your local area can come to your church from a digital standpoint, and all of these other, yeah, you have it pulled up right now. There's so many resources available, but joining that wait list is number one, and we'll reach out to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, I love that. And so many of these things are things that we preach here at eCatholic as well, because the digital front door is where people are at right now. And that leads them to the physical front door of your church eventually. They need to start their journey somewhere. I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but what sort of is the timeline right now for people that reach out on the waiting list if it's a good fit? What's that timeline look like right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have beta testers right now, and we'll have a full launch in December. So probably, I don't know when this episode is going to be released, but we have 5 slots open every single month.
That's exciting. Wow. And the parishes that are on there right now in the beta, they're I'm sure starting to reap some of the rewards from being on social media. You talked about that one parish that kind of sparked the idea. Is there anything else that's worth sharing there right now, or is it still too early?
I would say it's a little early right now, but I mean, we have priests and people reaching out from literally all over the world. So there's new features that we want to add in the coming months, utilizing AI technology with using different languages. So not only can we help parishes that are in the US, but in Africa, in Germany. And we've had people joining the waitlist that are from, I don't know how they're reaching us. Nobody personally in Germany or Asia or Africa, but like they're interested in this. And so we want to be able to help them, and utilizing it in Spanish, in German, in whatever other language, utilizing the power of AI technology. And so that will be a feature that we're super, super excited to roll out in the coming months as well.
Wow, that's so exciting. Yeah, well, I know one thing for sure. We know video content works. It's one of the reasons why we started having a video element to the Engaged Parish podcast, because it also gives us social media content to put out there. So we know video works, and these short clips can be very engaging and invite people in to learn more. And even more important when that's the faith. And you guys are simplifying this for parishes. So, I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind that parishes that sign up and get on board with PriestPro are going to reap the results of that. And to your point, we just need to see more of it. So I'm just really excited. I have one more question before we wrap up, but is there anything else on PriestPro that you want to mention, bring up, discuss?
I mean, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. Just search PriestPro and you'll find us.
I'm not surprised that you guys are all over social media, of course, with that being the element that you guys work in.
And there actually is one more thing. We are
Yes.
starting a podcast called the PriestPro Podcast, where we will be interviewing priests, parish staff, diocesan leadership that are successfully doing digital evangelization. They will be sharing everything that they're doing, what they've learned, what works, what doesn't work, what they're doing from a parish standpoint, sharing all of those tips. So you as a parish staff, a pastor, leadership, whoever, can utilize these tips and start implementing them into your own parish from people that are doing it successfully. So every episode will be niche on a specific topic, solving a specific problem. And so it's not released yet, but be on the lookout for the PriestPro podcast.
That's so exciting. I love that. And I know our listeners are going to be very interested in that podcast. So we'll certainly post that on our channels as well when you guys have that released. Very exciting. Is there anything else that you and Dom are up to? Any exciting projects or collaborations on the horizon?
It would be the PriestPro podcast.
Sure.
That's the next step for sure.
Excellent. That's very exciting. Well, once again, waitlist is open right now. Depending on when you listen to this, it actually might be fully launched. PriestPro.com. Is that right?
Yes.
PriestPro.com. And look for PriestPro on social media as well. Make sure you follow them and stay engaged there. I'm sure you guys are posting updates across all of your channels as new things are released and new things come out. Cassidy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your passion. Thank you so much for the work you and Dom do. I was looking at Dom's site for his video company, and you guys really do amazing work. And I saw some of the videos that you guys even had from the Eucharistic Congress. So thank you for the ministry, and thank you guys for serving the church.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
God bless.